All right, y'all. It is time to shine. It is time to shine. I'm your host, Julian Smartrimple, King Jewelz here. If this is your first time joining with us, welcome to the Run the Jewelz podcast show and vidcast series. Shout out to all of our wisdom listeners that are getting exclusive pre-live Q&A footage to ask questions to our very special VIP guest and also on Twitter Spaces. Shout out to our Twitter Space users. But if this is your first time rocking with us, the RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so if you are an entrepreneur, you're in the right place to be. If you're a young professional that's trying to blaze your career in your industry that you work in, you are going to learn some valid jewels and how to shine brighter today for our episode. Also, we are in a new season, you all. And so if you're interested in being a part of the RTJ family, and if you have a solid testimony, if you are a dynamic entrepreneur or a young professional, you can click the link that we're putting in the comment section below to fill out our interest form, and our team will comb through your information and see if you have what it takes to shine with our VIP guests that have been a part of our season this year. And so shout out to all of our VIP jewels that have made our show a success. We could not have made this show a success without you. You can listen to the RTJ show on Wisdom, on Twitter Spaces, and also on any podcast streaming platform that you listen to your favorite music artist or podcast. Just search for the Run the Jewelz podcast, and you'll be able to see episodes that we've released from season 1. Right now we're in season 2, and then we're currently videoing and recording episodes for season 5, you all. And so you can tap in and track with our journey from season 1 all the way to season 5 with new episodes that are going to be released every Tuesday for this season. And so those are all of our housekeeping for today. If you have any questions at any time, wisdom listeners or even Twitter Space listeners, feel free to come onto the stage. Don't be shy. This is an interactive show. You can ask any question that you may want because you're getting exclusive access to our guests. And so feel free, if you're tuning into the premiere, to put any comments or questions in the comment section below too, and we'll do our best to see if our guests can answer any questions you have offline for today's interview. And so we're getting ready to bring on my very special VIP guest, you all. Shout out to all of the international travelers out there. I know you all have been asking for travel influence hacks and also travel hacks to be able to go global. And so I met and came across this young queen on Instagram, on IG. Shout out to IG connecting the dots with a lot of our guests. And she is a travelista. She is a travel influencer. She's not someone who's just capping on social media. She's actually bringing international groups and showing you how to travel as a group and even do solo travel to international countries all over the world, while even teaching people the culture and more about the economy, the people, everything about these countries that she travels to. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. She goes by the name of Michelle Powell of Soul Journey Travel. And so without further ado, I want to introduce Michelle to you all. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share the jewels with us about your travel journey too.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. I'm super excited about this.
Absolutely. And so what we usually start off with, Michelle, we have our guests tell us, Michelle, where you're originally from, your hometown, currently where you are residing, because I know you travel all over the world. And then why is this an important subject for you to talk to about our audience today?
So I am Michelle Powell, owner of Soul Journey Travel, based out of Baltimore, Maryland. Born in Baltimore, but I definitely was raised in the Midwest. So shout out to Joplin, Missouri, because I am from there as well too. But Baltimore is home. I have been here longer than I can remember. And so with it, why travel is so important? Because travel is a birthright, okay? And a lot of times, like, travel is very much in my family, in my DNA. But I started to realize that I was enjoying it, but I wasn't sharing my enjoyments with others so that it can inspire. So, I've really been stepping out of my comfort. As you can see, I own a travel group. And so it is our due diligence to share those experiences, because we want people to be able to see that it is a birthright. African Americans are entitled to explore the world outside of their states, their hometowns, and it's at an affordable rate. You can have a luxurious experience and not break the bank. So I am here to tell you guys my most recent hack with the Department of Homeland Security that I think everyone, especially international travelers, should definitely take advantage of.
Absolutely. And so we're going to be learning about her journey into travel and even turning it into a business, you all. And so today's episode is how to become an international travel influencer with my very special guest, Michelle Powell of Soul Journey Travel. And so, Michelle, start from the beginning. I know you're a Black queen, and a lot of Black kings and queens, we may not be as pro international travel as we should, especially being U.S. citizens or coming from the U.S. So, like, how did you even get a love for travel? Like, how did you get taught how to travel internationally? Was it in your family? Did you go with friends early on in life? Tell us about your travel journey.
So this is the blessing in it. Especially in our community, legacy is everything. And really what we take heed to and, implement for our future is paramount. And so I say this to say is that my group was actually founded by my grandfather in the 1970s. So we are the oldest Black travel group in the country. And so with that, it was like, it was firsthand. I saw travel all the time. But as I explained, I grew up in the Midwest. So while my grandfather, who is from the Midwest, that's what led us there, he was living here in Maryland. We always saw, the travel endeavors that Soul Journey was doing. They were going all over the place. I wasn't even getting, to go. And at the time I was very young. So, I'm sure that they didn't necessarily, want to make everything a kids trip, which I get. I don't necessarily do a lot of kids trips myself. So, it makes sense. But when you see it firsthand, it's kind of like, it's right there. You find your way to fit into it. And so, that is ultimately how I got started. Both my parents, sought out opportunities where they could afford and be able to get us to travel. And so that definitely, domestically primarily, so that definitely, opened my eyes to just seeing different places outside where I was from, trying different cultures, different foods. And we're just talking about in the United States. I remember, I guess when I was 13, I went to Florida for the first time. And, just being in the South, even though I'm from the Midwest, it was just different. We went in February and it was warm weather. I could wear shorts where we were wearing coats. So, in it just showed that, okay, I have the flexibility to go at different times of the year and experience different environments and the weather and really, find myself in those types of places where I belong. So that is how my travel journey got introduced to me. As far as like my travel group, like I said, started by my grandfather, but he passed away in 2004. I'm sorry, let me correct that. It started by my grandfather and his partner, William Cunningham. So my grandfather, Ronald Powell, and his partner, William Cunningham, started Soul Journey. Unfortunately, my grandfather died in 2004. And so I was, I think, a sophomore in college. And, I was aware of my family business, but at the time I was on my journey of just figuring out what I wanted to do, more so doing the American dream, getting this degree so I can have this amazing career and make all this money. But, we know what the real reality of that is as you get older. So fast forward, I was able to I had a career with Department of Justice for 9 years. I worked in legal. I worked in legal for 15 years. And in the meantime, where I worked for Department of Justice, I was allowed to, they give you a lot of leave. So I was allowed to still be able to travel and explore and had that affordability because I had a full-time job. And it really just opened my mind up to, I was at the last stop for me, And I knew that it wasn't. You know, the pandemic was really like a blessing for me because we didn't have telework options. And so when that became available, that allowed a lot more flexibility as far as like my travel endeavors. So I made it a goal sometime within that year that I was like, okay, I'm literally want to travel a new destination every month. And at that time, it was just, you know, there wasn't a lot of international travel available. So I just really made it my point to get around the United States as much as possible. And it really allowed me to cultivate and step into entrepreneurship. Like I was already had some businesses and, you know, was running them part-time, but I really saw that I wanted that independence and really wanted to be on my own time and make my own rules. So I stepped out, started my first company, I guess 2001. I was very dramatic. And so I retired on Juneteenth in 2021. And I have just been going ever since, literally. And so then it led to, you know, I was doing like small groups of friends and families. And then on an ultimate trip, everyone on the trip dropped out last minute. Like, I mean, they were dropping like flies. It was like, I started with, I think, 4 or 5 of us. And one by one, they all just couldn't make the tour. And so that's what led a year ago now. So now last summer, that's what led to my first international tour. And from that tour, that's when I really knew that I wanted to put more energy, more time, and make it truly a passion to show this to the world, really make this available to everyone.
Wow, that's a powerful even start to the interview today, and even your story, Michelle, and coming from a family owned business and having that seed from your grandfather, rest in power to your grandfather, the king, that showed you the importance of travel, especially from an early age. I know we're going to dive into more of that story because I want to just put a quick tab on that note in order to have us highlight really quick our VIP sponsor. Our VIP sponsor and affiliate partner is something that we highlight for all of our episodes. For each and every episode this season, we highlight a small business owner or an entrepreneur that we align with our brand and they align with us. And so take a look and see who our VIP sponsor is for today, you all. Let's take a look. So shout out again to our VIP sponsor that comes from none other than ExpressVPN. Shout out to our VIP sponsor and affiliate partner for today, ExpressVPN. We swear by VPNs when we travel, whether it's international or even just here locally in domestic travel, because they are very sturdy and they are also very efficient. And so you can receive a 30-day trial by clicking the link that we're putting in the comment section with ExpressVPN in order to be able to use a VPN. This works very well with a travel hack and searching for prices for flights and even just booking a hotel or any excursions on an international VPN. And so if you have not heard, you better ask somebody. Definitely invest in a stable VPN like ExpressVPN. And you can click the link in the comment section, again, to get a free 30-day trial. And so Wisdom listeners and Twitter Space listeners, if you have any questions for my very special guest, Michelle Powell, feel free to come onto the screen at any time of the interview today to ask, because we are talking all things travel and how Michelle became an international travel influencer. And so we're about to get ready to bring Michelle back on so she can tell us more about her business, Soul Journey Travel. So Michelle, pick up for that last point that you made, where a lot of people that I hear that start travel businesses and travel companies, they go through a lot of the hurdles earlier on, where people are so excited to go international. They're all in your DMs or all in your text group text. And literally they may even put a deposit down, but then as time gets closer to the finish line, they're dropping off like flies. And so talk to us about how, as a business owner and even someone who is serious about travel, how did you overcome like family and even potential clients or friends having one foot in, one foot out when it came to international travel?
Ultimately, it was a lot of self-development and soul searching within oneself, right? Because I had to ultimately realize that my vision is not for everyone, right? But I had to walk in that purpose, and those that were willing to come along for the journey or experience part of the journey, it was literally just having that faith in myself. And so, it can be discouraging, if you have a travel group, if you're just getting started, if you're in the group chat and, you're the one with the ideas and you're ready to go all the time, and everyone has great intentions. I always respect the individuals that are just like, yeah, that's not me, or that's not my thing, because immediately where they stand with it, and you don't get that false hope. But you also have to prepare yourself, and understand how serious you are. Like I said, it started with us last summer, and when I got this opportunity to go on this unbelievable Dubai and Egypt trip, 2 and 1 was very cheap. I remember, I think it's like $1,400. It was really cheap for both of them, including my airfares, everything. And so when I presented to them, they were like, and so everybody was like, just put your deposit down. And different stipulations kept coming up that people were like, oh, I can't make it, or I have some obligation at work, or I don't want to abide by whatever restrictions or requirements, more so, that they have for COVID. It was just different things. And I had gone out of the country prior to that, but that was when people were really starting to get into the ease of feeling comfortable with international travel. So it was discouraging. I'm not gonna lie. I was really like, can I do this? Can I handle, going to this trip alone? Because I had done solo trips here in the States, but I hadn't gone internationally, and I didn't know, how I would feel about it. I'd always gone with other companions, but honestly, it was best decision I have ever made. Literally, I mean, you would not be seeing me had I not taken that opportunity, because it really shows me that at the end of the day, you're always going to have yourself. So if you can't keep yourself company, if you can't love and be, available for yourself, then how do you expect that to work with other people? And more so, you also can't wait for somebody else to validate your dreams. If it is your dream to go to China, it's your dream to go to Bali, you follow your dreams, and you'll be surprised when you get along the journey. I've noticed now in international travel, I always meet people that have the same scenario or looking for different opportunities in the future. So you create a whole new community that you can be a part of too. But you have to take it seriously first. You have to be kind of committed to it. And it is daunting. I can't sit here and lie to you. I can't make it seem like it's so simple, but it only starts if you do. So that's literally how I got started to it.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to all of those that still press through despite any of the challenges with traveling. I know, Michelle, we're going to have you really quick, if it's okay, if you could log back off and then log back in, just because we want to make sure they hear all of your jewels that you're dropping, because Michelle is dropping a ton of jewels, you all. They're trying to hate on her on our platform today. We want y'all to make sure you can hear her clearly. She's dropping a ton of jewels, you all. And so we're going to let Michelle log off real quick and then log back on so we can try to reset her audio. But we're talking to my very special guest, Michelle Powell, today, who is speaking about the importance of international travel and how to become an international travel influencer, you all. And so if you've thought about traveling abroad, we've traveled as a group to Central and South America, to Asia. We're even looking to go to Africa and even Europe later this upcoming year. And so you need to be able to see this bold and beautiful world that is at our fingertips. But you have to be able to know how to do it, also be able to plug in with the right type of groups, and be able to literally enjoy the journey, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself as you step out of your comfort zone and learn about new cultures and also new countries at that. And so we're going to bring Michelle back on. Let's see. We want to make sure y'all can hear her. Let's do a testing. Michelle, talk to us. Let's see how
Can you hear me?
We hear you much clearer. Excellent. We had to make sure they were able to hear those last jewels. They're trying to hate on you. But stay with that. Stay with that last part though, Michelle, because we wanted them to just have you reemphasize like the importance of like stepping outside of your comfort zone when you are traveling. Like, why should people step outside of their initial comfort zone if they have not traveled international, if they have not been able to step outside of the U.S. For those U.S. citizens that are listening, why should people step outside of their comfort zone to travel abroad?
Well, like I say this time and time again, traveling is a birthright, okay? And so you stepping outside of your comfort is, I have a great friend that has said this, everything you want is just outside your comfort zone, right? And that is so true, here in Maryland. And this is not to knock, just local tourism, but going to DC, going to Ocean City, even New York. New York is about 3 hours away from us. You get great opportunities, great things to experience, but to go beyond that is just like, it just opens your world up to new opportunities. I know even for me, just business endeavors, personal relationships, that weren't disposed to me here in the States, became available when I went internationally. So, that's something to definitely to keep in mind. You never know who or what you could come across that could change your life forever. And really, it, like I said, beyond it just being a birthright, it is a pleasure. Like, it's just an enjoyment to break that monotony, to see just different things in your environment, or just see things in different environment. Egypt is a huge tour that we reoccurringly promote and make available. But I'm telling you, it is nothing. This is my third time I've been in the last year. And every time, I didn't think, I went to the Great Pyramids the first time. And on my first tour, I went twice. But seeing one of the 7 wonders in person, there's no words that you can kind of put into play. There's not enough pictures that is really going to give you that opportunity to actually put your hand on those pyramids and to explore that, to take, photos in front of it. And so, knowing that that's the case and the opportunity, you don't want to resort those types of views to just pictures that you bought at the store, or that you came across online. When you actually took that picture yourself, as soon as you see it, you're instantly going to remember how you felt, what was going on. And it could be a matter that you were experiencing. For example, I am very reactive. And so when I go to a lot of countries that have mosquitoes, I get bit up very much. So it's ridiculous. However, it doesn't limit me from wanting to travel. One thing I do know is when I'm whining and complaining about, the mosquito bites in Cairo, I know that the mosquitoes are biting me in Baltimore as well too. So you know, if I'm going to experience this, you know, make it worthwhile, because you're going to be complaining, you're going to be living in any space. So really maximize that, really take on opportunities to just see what could be for you, because it's no different than when you're eating food. A lot of times we get kind of stuck in our comforts of, you know, basic chicken tenders, and it's not to knock it, but chicken tenders, hamburgers, but, you know, having authentic cuisine. You know, you're not going to say ever that Taco Bell has the best Mexican food. I don't know one person that's going to say that. And if they have, it's because they've never really gone outside of their environment, you know? So in that, you want to put yourself in that environment where you can have conversation pieces beyond what is just face value, or which you have quick access to.
Nah, those are some excellent jewels right there that Michelle is giving you all, especially like she said, the first time she touched down in Egypt. I could always remember my first time going to the motherland and touching the continent in Liberia. I went in 2019, Michelle, and just being able to say that you went to the continent, especially as an African American, Caribbean, a native, or any black person of color, like literally, that is an achievement in itself, to say that you were able to go not once but even 3 times back to the motherland. And stay with that point too right there, Michelle, because we want to hear, like, you of course are a very fluent traveler, and so we know that there's different hacks when it comes to going through, let's say, TSA pre-check versus global entry. And so, like, when it comes to educating people on the differences of the ways you can navigate even getting into different countries, even from the basics of pre-check versus global entry, like, what are some of the differences that you can educate our listeners on, and which entry requirement do you prefer the most?
Okay, so I'm a big fan of pre-check and global entry. Not even to knock pre-check, because I had them first, and then I recently just got approved for my global. And so I'll tell you that whole experience, and, you know, ultimately it's, you make your decision. But if you know that you're getting to that point where you want to travel more frequently, one thing that is always valuable is your time. Okay, that is the most valuable asset that you have. And so for me, it started, like I said, I was always internationally traveling, but it's easier, of course, to get around domestically. And so when I was going to the airport, you know, I'm one of them last minute people sometimes when it comes to making things happen. And I think, I can't remember exactly, but I knew when I got the opportunity, when pre-check first came out. So I would say I started with, as you know, DHS has, with Department of Homeland Security, has their trusted travelers programs. And so the primary ones that most people know of is pre-check, of course, because you can see it as soon as you get to the airport. They offer 5 different ones, but we're going to talk today about pre-check and global entry, more so just because I had an experience that I shared with the world, and it had like truly changed the game for me. So I had to share these jewels with everyone else. So started with pre-check first. Pre-check allows you to be able to come to the airport where you do not have to remove your shoes. You don't have to go through the scrutinizing process that typically it was, because you have enrolled in a program, you were approved, you did your interview. And forgive me, because my first interview was like 6 years ago. So it has been a moment since I had to go through that process. But I'm going to tell you about the global entry and why I left, or why I upgraded to this program first. So with pre-check, you know, it just allowed you to be able to get through the lines a lot quicker. You didn't have to go through as much process. So I was all for that, because I'm always going to the airport. I'm always running late, always playing around, you know, whatever. And so what happened was, when at the 5 years come up, they send you like a renewal. And of course, I knew I had to have it. Okay. I've been having it for the last 5 years. It's almost like, you know, once you can't not continue to have that process anymore. And so I kept on all the travel groups, I was hearing them talk about global entry. And I don't know, I don't think that it was offered when I first got into the program. I think that it was just pre-check. I don't know this 100%, but I know when I renewed, I didn't even look to see what other options were available. And so as I was looking at other travel blogs and posts on IG and, you know, various travel group sites, I was seeing people, you know, talk about the difference between, you know, global entry, how it saved them so much time. And honestly, the kicker for me was, where was I coming back from? I think it was Mexico last year or something. And I'm telling you, I had to wait in the line. And baby, I was not having it no more. I was like, okay, this is this is too much. Okay. I'm sitting here waiting in this line to prove myself because as I shared with you, I was a government employee. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, of course I'm trusted. You know, I'm good to go. But in it, when I was seeing other people just kind of bypass the process and they was getting their bags and they was already, gone, I was like, okay, let me really see why I hadn't explored this before and how this is going to be beneficial. So really, I'm sorry, it was when I came back from Egypt in May. We had a group trip in May. When I came back, I was like, you know what? Let me see what it would cost to upgrade my from pre-check to global entry. But this is the caveat that I didn't know, is that I didn't know that global entry included pre-check, right? I thought that it just for international. So had I known that, I would have automatically opted for that process. And why I say to do that, because if you do the reverse, if you get pre-check first, you're going to have to pay the full price. There is no difference. So right now, pre-check is $78. I think it just increased because it really was $75 at first, but now it's $78. Where global entry is $100. So, a $22 difference is a great peace of mind, especially if you travel, according to DHS, they really recommend if you travel more than 4 times internationally through the year to definitely enroll in this program because it's going to be such a benefit on your time and, making sure that process when you get back in. And so I went ahead, I was like, you know what? I was in limbo. I was like, do I really want to pay this $100? Because I had already paid the 70, I think at the beginning of last year. I had paid, or maybe the beginning of this year, I can't remember, but I had done the renewal fee for pre-check. And I was like, do I really want to pay this difference? And after coming back, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing these lines anymore. Let me just go ahead because especially if you're an entrepreneur, you already know it's a business investment, so you can write that off. But also it was just like my time. As I told you, time is your most valuable asset. And so in it was like, you know what? The $100 is going to be worthwhile because standing in somebody's line for 2 hours just to prove that I was worthy. And don't get me wrong, the DHS, I always have a great experience with the employees there. Shout out to them because they have always been so kind to me and a great conversation. But I knew that it was, if it was really meant to be, I would see them in a different space. So I applied, but I didn't realize that global entry was such a long process, like literally. And then I go and look on the site and it was like 4 to 6 month waiting process for your application process. So I really had forgot about it. Like I applied in June, this past June, and really like forgot about it for months. And then I'm sitting there thinking like, wait a minute, did I miss an email? Did something happen and they are waiting on me? And so I decided to jump on the site and kind of see where my status was, and it was still pending. So I was like, okay, they really meant what they said when it was a 4 to 6 month application process. And so as most know, if you follow my social media, I just got back from Egypt. And so while I was there, like literally like 3 days before I was leaving, a day or two before I was leaving, I got approved. I got my conditional pre-approvement for global entry, right? So I'm excited. I'm just like, oh, finally. And more so I was thinking like, how can I activate this? Because I'm coming back tomorrow, or the next day I was coming back, a couple of days later sometime. I was coming back and I'm like, if I can avoid getting this line now, that'd be perfect. But it was telling me that, I had to schedule an interview. So when I was looking on the site, and I was doing this from my phone, I was noticing that the interviews were showing like, first of all, they weren't even showing any upcoming interviews in May. So I was like, okay, it has to be some issues with the connection because I'm in Egypt. So I'm like, okay, when I get back into the States, I'm going to go book this appointment. And sure enough, when I go on there, what I had put in was like it was showing me interviews, but it was like for Texas or Minnesota, like places that were nowhere near my house. So when I actually got on the computer and I got to look on it, I saw that the reason it was doing that because those were the only open interviews. And so when I put in for the Baltimore area, the soonest interview was in April, right? Now, if you even look at our tour schedule, I knew I was going to be on somebody's plane going somewhere. So I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, so I just naturally, I got on Google and I was just like, okay, how can I expedite this process? And so I came across this great company that they basically do, it's an appointment scanner. It's called Appointment Scanner. And so it allows you to sign up for their services. You pay $29, gives you 30-day access. And what they do is they literally alert you for any last minute cancellations as the openings come about. You literally have to jump into the DHS site and try to schedule your appointment, because you can select, so you can select up to 3 locations that are closest to you where you're seeking an interview, and it will alert you as they come available. So I started this process on a Sunday morning, right? Because I don't even know why I was thinking about it so hard, but how it starts to feel like when you have several subscriptions. And it was like, okay, I didn't really want to feel like I just paid the additional $100. I just paid, the renewal fee. So it's like, when does this stop? But that is just the mind letting, putting adversity into it, because really, if you want it, you're going to make it happen. And so as I'm laying there and I'm scrolling through and I saw that they had a money back guarantee, right? And so anything that's going to give me a peace of mind is like, all right, I'm willing to try it. They're giving me an opportunity to experience this without fully, being fully committed if it didn't work out. And so I signed up, and you have the option. They can send you via email, they can send you via text message. So I knew text message was going to be the fastest. And I'm telling you, like, this was a Sunday morning. I got text the entire day. And not even that, I actually scheduled other appointments, but by that Monday, I got offered an appointment in DC for Tuesday. And I was like, and DC is like 45 minutes away from Baltimore. So I was like, boom. I got onto the portal, got the appointment, and literally ran down to DC, was in and out in 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. They were so nice. There was no line, everything. It was just a perfect process. Other than the fact that I had to drive to DC, might have been, but it was worthwhile, because within 2 days of me signing up for this service, I was approved. And then I got my card within a week later. So I was like, okay, this is dope. I have to share this with other people, because if you were like me and you saw an appointment in April, which is 5 months out from your date, like, who wants to wait that long? So it really just changed the game for me. And I've now become such an advocate for global entry. As a result, I love it, and it includes pre-check. So it's like, you might as well pay the $22 upcharge. You might have to wait a bit longer, but if your time is valuable to you, then your money will be spent wisely.
Yeah, Michelle is dropping some jewels with the difference between pre-check and also global entry. That's actually how I came across Michelle's page. Shout out to all the Black Travel IG pages on Instagram that teach people that look like myself and Michelle, kings and queens, how to travel abroad and international. And she was breaking it down just like she did with us today, you all, and letting us know why we need to invest in global entry, especially if you are going to be traveling international multiple times throughout the year. I know since even seeing your video, Michelle, my team and us, we've even talked about investing in the global entry, even though we just purchased pre-check like last year, I believe, too. So we're actually in the same exact situation as you. We're like, dang, we should have waited and just maybe got global entry if we really were serious about traveling multiple times international per year. But it always is best to know the information, excuse me, just like you're saying up front, so that you can save time and also save money in global entry versus pre-check. And so like, stay with that last point too, because we know that you travel abroad with groups. Like, how did you get into really continuing your process? I know you said you started off with family and maybe close friends, but how do you plan your destinations for your travel groups, and also like where are you all going this next year for your travel groups?
So how did I get started or get into it? Honestly, I pick destinations that just appeal to me, that like have a space in my heart, because I like to promote tours that we curate all of our tours. And so to have a proper, authentic, curated process, that you have to have some emotional investment, like you have to have some experience, so that you are truly giving somebody some value for what you experience. If you, like I said, when you begin to follow me, if you're not already following me, I had just got back. Egypt was my last stop, but I was really in 3 others. It was like a 5-6 week tour, and I went to 3 other cities beforehand. So it was London, Athens, and where else did we go? Paris, my favorite. That's one of my favorite cities. And then Egypt was my last stop. And so in it, I primarily was there just so we could have personal relationships with our vendors there, right? Because that is a lot of what makes the experience wholehearted. I don't like recommending things that I wouldn't, want to experience. And so when we went to each of these cities, I made it a point of reaching out to them beforehand. We did property tours so that we saw what it had to offer. So when we're offering it to our customers, we can say firsthand, hey, this is the creme de la creme when it comes to this, especially when you specialize in luxury experience, international standards of luxury can be a little bit different. And so in it, you want to really make sure it aligns with your goals, what your vision is, and so that you can reiterate that to the customer and that they can have more at ease. Because a lot of times, now we're getting a lot of solo travelers that not necessarily were looking to go that route, but it became, an opportunity for them, it became an opportunity that they wanted to seize, and it makes them feel more comfortable, even though they're going with strangers. It doesn't feel like it's a complete stranger, there on tour with them.
Yeah, that's some great places that y'all are going to, and even from what you were speaking about before, where you all have been, and it's so much of a enlightening and also just camaraderie when you go with a group of like-minded travelers that want to actually learn more about this particular country or this particular culture. And goes into the last question we have before final jewels for you. We know your company's name is Soul Journey Travel. So like how did that name come about? Because we know that the name definitely rings in potential customers and clients when they're wanting to do business with you. That's such a cool name. And like how do you tie in like the Soul Journey into your travel curated experiences for clients too?
Well, thank you so much. That's a great question. As I said before, my company was founded by my grandfather, so he came up with this name concept. So it was an honor to kind of carry on. The company originally was Soul Journey Enterprises, same concept, same activities, same endeavors. And so when I decided to make my own, and he had passed away, Enterprise didn't necessarily, come to mind at that time. Nonetheless, I wanted to be in that position where we still kept that namesake. And so that's literally how the company, continued on with the name. But more so, I saw how much it was a representation of my life and how much it connected with other people. Everyone loves the story about how this is a company that was founded by my grandfather, but more so when they see that your journey, your soul's journey is kind of what you make it and what we've built and stood behind, naturally they just kind of want to align with that. And so whether this week, I'm sorry, I know that you asked me about our next destinations, and so for 2023 we have a goal of releasing 12 tours. I think there's 5 on the site right now. Our next one, we're doing an all women's trip to Egypt. And Egypt is the plug. Y'all know I love Egypt, and so we're going to have so many reoccurring tours there, especially centered for the African American community, the Nubian experience. So I'm super elated about that, and I really cannot wait to share that with the world. But in that literally starts to align with someone's soul journey or how they want to connect to their ancestry lines, or just experience it through different diasporas. It really is ultimately what you make it. And we love that it is a community-based, a family-oriented, or a family-established business, but more so community oriented. I mean, we're very passionate about assisting African Americans and especially getting to Africa. My goal is to see 20 Blacks. It's been my goal for the last year. And so I am very, very passionate about making sure that African Americans experience Africa firsthand, and just explore different parts. Because as you were talking, you were in Liberia. I don't know if you've been to other sectors first, and I know Liberia is right next door to Egypt, but they're completely different than what you see from West Africans. And especially in this era, we have a lot of West Africans. Shout out to the West Africans here in Maryland, the DMV, Baltimore DMV area. But it was a different cultural experience. It wasn't the same what I thought was going to be when I got there. And nonetheless, if I didn't take that journey, I wouldn't have had that connection to be able to see. So I humbly ask that you all step outside your comfort zone. If you need a place to step into, come see us. Soul Journey, we got you, okay?
Absolutely. No, I love the fact that, like you said, it is a family business and you're taking on the legacy or the crown from your grandfather to teach other people that look like us how to travel abroad and internationally. That's such a cool concept. And even what I was going to say, Michelle is official with it too, you all. I saw on her IG, she's getting custom jewelry made in Egypt in the streets for travelers and family and friends back home. So she's about really customizing the experience and even bringing a piece of the country back to the States for others to enjoy her journey and her group's journey. And so, Michelle, I know we definitely were able to cover a lot of information in the interview today, but we've reached our final jewel segment where we allow our guests to leave a final piece of wisdom, a final jewel to the audience. We know that you've talked about how you got into your love for travel, how your family inspired you to even take the helm of the travel business and to continue building on it for your legacy. And we've even talked about the places that you traveled to. What would be a final jewel of wisdom that you would want to tell our audience when it comes to how they can become an international travel influencer?
Can I curse on here? Is this okay? Well, I usually say this phrase, and what I'm asking is to book the D ticket. So book that ticket, okay? And I don't like to paraphrase it because I want you to really take heed with this. Step outside of your comfort. You know, a great way to do is if you're shopping for flights that are on sale, just going somewhere different. If it's really about the cost, find something, because there's affordability in everything that we do. You just have to see how it affords to you in your life. And so step outside your comfort, get on that plane. And if you need assistance, definitely come hit me up. I got you. I'll definitely help you on ways that you can be able to be a soul traveler. A soul traveler, and not let that anxiety live into your heart, because it's just limiting you. So yeah, step outside your comfort.
I love it. Go ahead. I was taking a swig of water real quick, Michelle. Say your motto or your mantra to book the deed. That's PG. We'll let you get the PG. Yeah, say it one more time for him, Michelle.
Book the damn ticket, okay? Book that flight. Book it.
Y'all gotta stop playing like Michelle. Go ahead.
Sorry. You
can
get flights for under $100. You can get flights for under $100. I promise you. I do it all the time. So even if that seems too much, I done got round trips for $60. There's no excuses, okay? Book the damn ticket. Thank you so much for letting me, Julian. I appreciate you, King.
Absolutely. Michelle is letting y'all know to stop playing with it and get off the sidelines, you all, to book that ticket ASAP today, you all. I know I've enjoyed our session today, Michelle. We've definitely reached the last part of our interview for today, where we say a special blessing over you as our VIP guest. And so for those that are listening, if you've enjoyed this episode with myself and Michelle, feel free to sow a seed into good soil. We always believe in sowing where you're able to reap. She dropped a ton of jewels and information, how she started her travel or continued the legacy of her family's travel company, and even how you can learn how to travel internationally. So there's no excuse. But we allow 3 ways to sow. You can definitely sow into the RTJ show by purchasing some of our merch that we're putting in the comment section below. You could also cash app us at $SMART, SMART, JEWELZ. And then you could also click the link that's in the comment section to become a monthly Patreon with us also too. But before we say a quick prayer over you, Michelle, tell people how they can stay in touch with you, though. How can people stay in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you again for tuning in. Thank you so much, King Julian. I appreciate you, brother, for having me on there and just recognizing my company. You can find me on my personal IG at Goals with Shelly P. And for the company, for Soul Journey, of course, we're Soul Journey Travel on IG and really on all platforms. And then the website, souljourneytravel.com. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So y'all go in and connect with Michelle. She's active on social too. That's how I came across her page. And literally, she's traveling, you all. She's showing other people that are kings and queens, especially how to travel internationally. And so definitely track with her at souljourneytravel.com and also on IG at Soul Journey Travel and at Goals with Shelly P on IG. And so, Michelle, we're going to say a quick prayer over you to bless you for taking time out of your schedule today, and then we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your day, if that's okay.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Perfect. Father, I just want to thank you for Michelle. Thank you for just the legacy that you built in her family from her grandfather all the way down to her. And we thank you just for her being able to take the helm and continue the privilege of showing others the importance of travel and also how to travel internationally. We thank you for all the seeds that she's sown already into others that have either been a part of her travel journeys or are going to be a part of her travel company. And we just pray that you will expand her territory in this year to bring her even more clients than she's seen in the previous years, even more partnerships, even more speaking engagements that she can share her knowledge and also her wisdom in international travel with others. And so we pray that you will continue to guide her along this journey, keep her covered, keep her protected, and watch over her and also her company. And we love you, Father, and thank you for this time that you've allowed us to share today. And we give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. And it's in Yahshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ's name, I pray.
Amen.
We appreciate you, Michelle. We know we're going to be in touch because we got to get some consulting from you too to help us with our international travel group. So we'll definitely be in touch, Queen. And it's been a pleasure serving with you. All right, Michelle, you enjoy the rest of your day and we'll talk soon, Queen.
You too.
All right, y'all. I'm going to do a quick Jewels for Thought wrap up. You heard from Michelle directly, you all, that it is time to get off the sidelines and travel. She literally gave you the playbook step by step and how to get overseas, whether you're in the U.S., whether you're in Central South America, even for some of our listeners who are abroad. You all are already in the mindset to travel, but you just have to take the first step. And also know where to plug into like-minded travel curators and even travel business owners like Michelle that can help you and also hold your hand throughout the process of getting overseas. We know just from talking to travel nistas and travel influencers that you got to be able to have a visa. You got to be able to have a passport. Sometimes you even may have to get immunization to go overseas, like to the motherland where I've been. And also Michelle has been, and many of our guests that we've had on the show have been. So you got to know the step-by-step process, but where there's a will, there's always going to be provision. And so you have to be able to invest in your travel. You invest in shoes, you invest in clothes, you invest in many things that do not retain its value, but why not invest in yourself to have a travel memory, a travel experience, whether it's solo or whether it's with other group members, because you will have it as a lasting memory for a lifetime. I don't know how many times I've told people from an early age the privilege of being able to travel, but you have to get off the sidelines and do it. Stop talking about it. Stop telling people you want to go overseas. Just do it. And so those are all of my final jewels for thought. You can definitely tap in with us too as we go through this journey, you all, to be able to travel with our group and even to be able to track with us on our journey as we go international this season, you all. And so take a look. We are of course consulting with content creators and podcasters with our mothership, Smart Jewels Enterprises. .org. You can go to www.smartjewelsenterprises.org to see some of our services that we provide. such as our Smart Travel Jewels group that we are literally going to different places all over the world to show content creators how to create content internationally. And so go and check out smartjewelsenterprises.org. Also, and so we're definitely going to be heading out overseas to show others the way. We've started this journey a little over 2 years ago, and we've said that we're taking the show international so we can interview international citizens and influencers in the countries that our team and even our future travel groups are going to be traveling to. I have a love for travel. I've been to Africa, Asia, Central and South America, and big up also too to the Caribbean natives by way of my family tree. We are of Trinidadian descent, and so we love to travel abroad. And many of my family members and friends are located in different countries and continents. And so it is time to shine this year, you all. And for this season, we are going to show you how to travel and also how to create content abroad. And so track with us, follow our journey. You can definitely subscribe to our podcast at the Run the Jewelz podcast show on any podcast streaming platform. And thanks again to ExpressVPN, our affiliate partner for today, and also to Michelle Powell from being our very special VIP guest. King Jewelz is signing off until we meet again. Peace.